Hi, good morning, everybody. My name is Steve Bunnell, senior wireless engineer for a company called Evotech out of San Diego, California. I actually live and work out of Denver. I spend a lot of time doing surveys and predictive modeling, so I work with floor plans a lot. And one of my pet peeves in life, which I have many, is really crappy floor plans that clients provide, and then they expect us to provide them a good product, and they give us crap to work with. So I spend a lot of time cleaning up floor plans, and a lot of times I request floor plans in CAD format, but I usually get JPEGs or PDFs, so you have to spend a little more time with those. So we're going to talk about cleaning up CAD programs, CAD files. Since we're kind of limited on time here, I'm not going to spend time on PDF and JPEG, but I'm going to talk about using a product to clean floor plans, in AutoCAD format. So how do we get there? How do we get good clean floor plans? So I use a product called DraftSight. DraftSight is made by a company out of France called Dassault Systems, and you may also recognize that name because they also produce SolidWorks, which is a really good 3D modeling program. So I started using DraftSight many years ago, and it used to be a free product, but now since they've got a lot of people using it, they've decided to license it. So right now it's $149 a year, and if you don't want to pay that, they have a non-subscription program where you can pay $299 for life. The first year you get the free updates, and then if you want updates after that, it's $99 a year. So I just picked one of the files that I've gotten over time. And this is what a typical CAD floor plan looks like in CAD format. You've got a lot of information on there, notations, text. There's your hash lines and everything. So if you take that into Ekahau, and I'm gonna primarily refer to Ekahau. I know that there's still some people who haven't seen the light and crossed the divide from Air Magnet, but this would work for Air Magnet as well. So when you take a file into Ekahau and you don't clean it, this is what it looks like. Now, Ekahau's got a nice feature with CAD files that you can go in and choose what layers you want to see, and then you can also assign a wall value to that layer. But the problem with that is when you have some very large floor plans and you have a lot of layers, that file is huge when you bring it into Ekahau. And even though you turn off those layers, they're still there. And then as you start adding your survey data or your design data to that file, it just starts getting bigger and bigger, and then everything slows down. So what I like to do, this is what a file would look like in Ekahau if you don't clean it. You bring all those layers in. You've got all this junk on there, which to me, if I'm going to produce a heat map from a survey or from a design, I don't want to present this to my client. My client's going to look at that and it's just going to look all jumbled up. I want a nice clean file. I'm kind of anal, I'm kind of neat. So when I present stuff to the client, I want them to see a clean floor plan. So what I like to do is use the DraftSight program. Now I know that there's probably other free or low-cost drafting programs out there similar to AutoCAD. I was talking to some people in class the other day, and someone mentioned another one that I wasn't even aware of. So I'm going to talk about DraftSight because that's the one I use, but there's others out there if you're interested in looking for things. I'm sure you can probably find some others out there on the internet. So this is a floor plan. What we see up here right now, this was a floor plan that was cleaned by DraftSight. all the layers were removed. And it just, from what you saw previously, it's just a lot cleaner product. So I can't spend a lot of time showing you how to do draft site, but I just wanted to jump in here real quick and just show you how easy it is to clean these layers off. So if we go up here to Format and then go to Layer, you can see here that we have a list of all the layers that are in this file. And this is a smaller file, so there's not a big list, but a lot of times I'll get floor plans from multi-story buildings, and they've actually included every floor on every file. So the list of layers is just humongous. So I know that anything that has identifier or annotation or text is stuff that I immediately want to take out of the file. So I can go down here, and I'm just clicking on the green dot, and I'm turning these layers off. And so we'll just run through here real quick and turn a few of them off. We're not going to get all of them. Another problem that you have too is that a lot of times the drafting operator will include objects that are not in a layer. So they end up being in layer 0. And so with those, you have to go in and do those by themselves. So we've cleaned some of the things off of this file. We didn't get everything here, but like I say, we have got a short amount of time here. So let's jump back into our slideshow. And so when we're all done cleaning that file, this is what we get. And so when you bring this file into Ekahau or Air Magnet, you see now the list of layers on the left is probably a third or less of what it was before we did all of that cleaning. And our file is much cleaner. So when you turn off the layers in draft site, you're not deleting those layers. So if for some reason you need to go back to that file, you can quickly turn those back on. They're not gone, but when you bring it into Ekahau, those layers that you've turned off in draft site do not come with the file. So now we have a file that is smaller in size. When we start adding our survey information or our design information, that file is not going to be as huge as it would have been before we cleaned it. So now we have a nice clean file to work with. And so when we're all done with our design or with our survey and we produce a heat map to put into the report to send to our client, now we've got a floor plan that's not all junked up, and it looks nice, and you'd feel better presenting that to the client, as opposed to this, a file that hasn't been cleaned, and you can just kind of see the difference. And I get a lot of work from other companies, and I see that a lot of people don't take the time to clean up files, and they present this kind of work to their clients. And I've been coming to this soiree for 4 years now, and nobody ever talked about cleaning up floor plans. So I just thought that we'd have this little conversation. And I know not everybody in the room does surveys and does designs, but for those of us who do, maybe there's some new information here. So with that said, my time's about up. Everybody have a good show, and thanks for your attention today.